love you.
Ahora de Cuba la Bella, del Palacio los Jugos.
Los chicharrones.
Los vecinos aquí se enteran de todo.
Mi vecina era CDR en Cuba.
Y en verdad no hay nothing that you can do. Chacleteras sin llames con corbata.
Aquí yo vendo hot dog, pero en Cuba yo era médico.
Les saco el dedo y digo Q.
Sweet home Hialeah. Solo 30 minutos de Levallo. Oh, sweet home Hialeah. I hate your traffic, but I love you.
All right, hello everybody, and welcome to another edition of East 10th Street Boys. I'm one of your hosts, Bobby Finstock, joined always by my brother Alex Atiachisca. Alex, how you doing, brother?
What's up, my man? Just catching up on obviously some imaging that I just got from the Kareem Hunt injury. It's a little disturbing, but
Nick Chubb.
Nick Chubb, yes. Sorry.
I haven't seen it. I saw the update, but I didn't see that.
I saw the still image. Remember, like Willis McGahee in the Rose Bowl?
Is it that bad?
It was like that still image. Obviously, everything in the still image is much worse, but I don't know, man. It just sucks. It sucks. And my friends keep sending it to me now, so I was just catching up on that as the show was opening.
That's horrible. Let me again welcome everybody to East 10th Street Boys, straight out of Hialeah on the Finstock Sports Network. If you're new to the channel, whether you're watching on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, smash that like and subscribe button. We appreciate you guys. We got so much to talk about. Our Miami Dolphins 2-0 to start the season after, in my opinion, an impressive victory against the New England Patriots. Despite the score, it wasn't as close as as most people want to bring up that it is. Miami, I think, just took we'll talk more about it. I talked about it last night on postgame. Miami took their foot off the pedal a little bit, and New England was trying to get sneaky, but Miami sealed the deal. But since I've talked most about it, I'll let Alex start us off on that, and then we'll roll in. Of course, we got some Heat talk later on in the show, and then we'll get our random questions, and we won't keep it too long. But before we do that, Alex, how's your week so far, man?
It's good, man. I'm first and foremost, I want to thank you for those people out there. If they see the new imaging, if they notice, Bobby has done a hell of a job with our little faces in the bottom. We gotta get this branded, man. I just look at it now live and in person. It's amazing. So cool.
Why don't you tell everybody? I know, right? Why don't you tell everybody what that means? What that's saying?
Okay.
What it stands up for?
Bueno, dímelo hacer, que hola is when people like say, "Hey, what's up, man?" Like, what's up, bro? Like, hey, what's up, bro? And obviously, many ways of saying, like, what's up, dog? It's like, what you doing? Like, what's going on? So it's a Cuban way of saying all those things, and it's something that obviously Bobby didn't understand for a big part of his life. But
I thought you were talking about your bolas. You're like, "Hey, bola." I'm like, why are you bringing up your balls?
Dímelo hacer is like, what hacer? What do you want me to do? Hacer? Like, what do I have to do? Like, what's going on?
What's a sere? What does a sere mean? What does a sere mean?
Now it's like a Siri.
That's right. Siri, is it the GPS? You want to put the GPS?
I said it.
Oh,
but my week so far, but obviously it's Monday, but the weekend was a little hectic. We had tournaments. What I tell you, this was the first time, and I'll be honest with the viewers. Obviously, my weekends when you're coaching and when you're in tournaments is very difficult. The 1 o'clock time frame. So I've caught a lot of Dolphins games at 4 when they've had prime times. Yesterday's game was the first game in over a year and a half that I was able to see from the first snap to the last snap, all throughout. I didn't even move from my sofa. I was upstairs in the loft and I didn't move at all, and it was glorious, amazing.
Yeah, okay, so let's get on that. Let's talk about that. You know, watching that game last night, you got you were able to, because you're very busy. You know, I'll say we both busy fathers, full-time dads, full-time husbands, work, all that whatnot. You know, but you had finally a chance to sit down.
Yes.
Get to watch a full game, besides just catching up or watching highlights or reruns or whatever. So watching that game, let me ask you the 2 top things that stood out to you in that game. what are the two top when you watched that when you were watching the Dolphins versus the Patriots? What stood out and you went, damn, okay, I like this, or maybe like, ooh, they got to work on this.
The top two things that stood out for me was we expected obviously Patriots defense and Belichick to give the offense trouble to try to take away the bread and butter, and they did. But what did McDaniel do? It's like, you're going to take away my verticality? That's fine. I'll work with the field that I have. Running game stood out. So to me, the number one thing that I want to say that stood out is the versatility in this offense. Because we talked about it last week, and I know you guys have talked about it on the other podcast, is you've emphasized it. You cannot be a one-dimensional offense. Why? Because they're going to remove it from you. What are you going to do? And the thing that stood out to me the most is obviously I don't want to sound. I'm gonna phrase this very carefully. I don't want it to sound like I'm coming off as an asshole. What I'm about to say, but what I'm seeing in McDaniels, and I've verbalized this to you in private and sometimes in our podcast. I expected this growth in McDaniels' second year as a head coach, and what I saw in McDaniel is that he was able to adjust. Obviously, part of the game plan, but the moment they take away something from him, he's not forcing it if it's his only weapon or if it's his favorite weapon. He is able, obviously, credit to Mostert. He's in much better shape. He's heavier. He's running with a purpose. The offensive line, once again, I know it goes unnoticed at times. I know Tua's release is in record point. Like he's getting rid of the football almost instantaneously. So that in itself eliminates the pass rush because it's even pointless at times to send them the pass rush. So I give him credit for that, but I do give credit for the offensive line to once again standing strong. And people criticize the run game last week. No, there's no run game existing. Just like the defensive line, the defensive front, they were criticized because they couldn't stop the run. They came and played with a purpose, and they found a way to win. So what stood out to me the most was the resiliency of the team, finding a way to team. Great teams find a way to win no matter the circumstance. And I verbalized it to you. There's something that I haven't felt in a long time. Is I don't think I've ever felt this. That this Miami Dolphins football team is not really going to lose to another team just because of talent or play on the field. And we're doing this without Armstead, without Jalen Ramsey, without Brandon Jones fully back. We're still missing key pieces that we felt that we knew were going to be key pieces of offense and defense. Well, the basis of the line is Armstead. So I'm impressed with people stepping up. And sometimes what we felt we lacked in depth, they've been able to produce. Granted, you still have your snapping issues with Connor Williams, where there's sometimes in shotgun. I understand Tua's responsibility when it's a straight hike. So those are like when he's under center. So those are things that obviously you got to work on, and you're going to continue to work on. But you much rather see a team overcome those things and still win a ball game that, like you mentioned, honestly, this ball game could have been like 40-17. So it's not something like I understand the score. And like you said in the second half, now the next thing that I want to mention is the one that you mentioned right now that I'm like, oh, we need to work on that is I don't want McDaniel to become complacent in order to be multidimensional, that he goes away from his instinct of if this is what I want to run, I'm going to go with it. Because I understood he trusts Jason Sanders. To me, I have a big issue with the kicking game because I understand the first missed field goal, which was, to me,
it was a block.
It was a block. It was
a damn good block, too. Great play.
I have never seen that play before.
Yeah.
And the way it was ran, it was perfect. Do I think Wilkins could have picked up maybe his peripheral? Maybe. He should have.
Evan says it was on Wilkins. He blames Wilkins for that.
And when you see the slow replay, now what they mentioned, I forgot who broke it down today, Bob, but they mentioned the tick of the long snapper, that he has a tell, or the kicker. So they were like, oh my God, how is that perfect timing? And they're like, this guy was able to identify the kicking motion, and he took off right at the precise moment, which is insane.
But that's what we was talking about last week, and talking about pregame with, Belichick is that's how smart he is. He knows how to prepare his guys and his coaching staff. Let me just welcome very quick, Alex. Kings Dolphins 89 in the house. Josh Wingate. Wingate, you have not missed the Serial Award.
Do not.
I got it all set up, my man. It, had little graphics and everything, and of course, I had to do the off-brand version, my version of off-brand version of these cereals. But hopefully, you'll like it, my man. And you can put in there. Everyone could put their answers in the comments below. We'll try to make this a weekly thing. I think it should be weekly. I think it'd be fun because it's not too hard.
Absolutely, man. That's
He calls it the Conflei Awards because she was like Conflei because she was telling me, she's like, because I gave her all the names and she was like, yeah, but they're all Conflei to us, and I'm like, okay, but that's not the point though. Like Conflei, everybody thinks of corn flakes, so I'm just gonna roll cornflakes as a separate thing.
Conflei, it became like, when people describe something as shit, like, oh, it's hot as shit, that's cool as shit, that's amazing as shit, like that became Conflei because every cereal, no matter what it was, it could be chocolate, vanilla, plain, anything that you put in water and you eat it with a spoon, automatically in the Latin community became Conflei. It was just branded. So no matter what it was.
Oatmeal?
Oh, that's, I don't know. Sticky Conflei?
A lot of static. Alex, are you rubbing against something? There's a lot of static on your end. I just heard that right now. Rob of DolphinsThirsty.com and Dolphins Thirsty YouTube. What's up, brother? Tuning in at 9:48 hour Eastern time. Great to see him pop in here, just like us. He actually guessed the correct score. I had it 31-23. Still thought it was a close game. He actually had 24-17.
Yeah.
So kudos to Rob for getting that one right. But I want to say some of the points you were talking about. But for me, again, and Wingate said this yesterday, was that, and it's so true, the questions that we had after last week's victory against the Chargers, which was a shootout, we were like, yo, what happened to the running game? Defense let up too many points. They answered that in this game. There's probably a new set of questions. We got to talk, okay, special teams, allowing the Patriots kind of sneak up a little bit. Okay, but overall, that was almost a complete game by the Miami Dolphins. Almost. Defense, offense, and offense wasn't, it's not like Tua was throwing 466 yards, 4 touchdowns, whatever. No. He was getting the ball. And like you said, people were saying last week, oh, it kind of reminds me of Dan Marino, the way Tua was throwing. No, yesterday reminded me of Dan Marino. Let me tell you why. As soon as he said height, that ball was out. As soon as that ball went in his hands, it was out. 1.66, whatever. Tyreek Hill right in the touchdown. That's growth. And what's growth is that McDaniel recognized last week, hey, okay, in order to beat the Chargers, we're going to have to beat them through the air. Arm for arm, Tyreek against their guys. To go against the Patriots, we're going to have to balance this out. They're going to stop Tyreek and Waddle, even though that's hard. You can't really, but they did. Christian Gonzalez, that dude's legit,
3 deep
man.
safeties, man.
Holy crap. But you know what? Then what did Miami do? They said, okay, you know what? You don't think we have a running game? Watch this. Raheem Mostert, which credit to him, he gained weight during the offseason. He heard all the noise. Jonathan Taylor, Dalvin Cook, Saquon Barkley, et cetera, et cetera. He heard all that noise. He's saying, wait a second, I'm still here. Wait a second. And what did he do? He put the work in. We'd perform, Nick Hicks. And what did he do? He looked amazing last night.
Forget about Mostert. Like, people forget who he was before he got hurt or anything. And
this game,
it reminds a lot of people of, like, and the one thing that stood out to me about the other thing that I was going to mention is last year, we can get in these shootouts and our offense was going on all modes. But defensively, you couldn't trust us to get a stop. Our first 2 wins have been secured on a defensive stop. The magnitude of that, to me, even while your defense is developing, while Fangio's getting comfortable with his personnel, I've always been a fan of Vic Fangio's defense because Fangio's defense, he trusts his safeties. So safeties have the free will to gamble on certain plays. And his blitzing pattern to me is awesome because he's not predictable. Fangio is not a predictable DC because he will do the unthinkable whenever he wants to do it. And what I love about Fangio is that he's older, but he has the same thing in McDaniel where he has that tactic of a game where he feels the game. Sometimes in another situation, people might not blitz, and he'll all-out blitz. He'll safety blitz their ass. And those are the things that you love about a coordinator, that he trusts his personnel. And as he gets comfortable, and I know we'll talk about a few that I want to mention because to me, Eli Apple is almost to the point that he's unplayable at certain points. And Jason Sanders, those are my sour points from yesterday. Those are things that I just don't trust.
I didn't know. I was trying to think of a cereal that we
was
both.
hideous.
I should have asked you before earlier today to give
that
me
no
an
one
idea.
likes.
Yeah, something that we both could agree on. That was like a cereal we didn't like, but and I was like, I didn't want to go, hit on Raisin Bran which I don't mind Raisin Bran, but it's like I was trying to think of a name.
Like
I know you like all those weird cereals. That's why I thought it was. I was thinking of Grit, something like that. But wait, let me just say, Rob, you're tuning in, man. I'm so happy you're here because we're about to do our cereal awards for the game. That's something new on East 10th Street Boys. Thank you to Josh Wingate for giving us that idea because we always talk about cereal on here. And I'd love to get your answers as well. Ricky, thank you for tuning in. He says, did you guys hear about the Dolphin fan? Is it the Dolphin fan that beat up a Gillette fan? The guy passed away from a knockout. I was sitting at 306. No, I didn't, man. And that's horrible. I
read a story about someone that helped out a fan, but I didn't know it was a fight.
Bearded Fanatic in the house. Thank you, brother. Thank you so much.
And now we could go buy our first box of cereal. It has to be a small inflation.
Yeah, no. Hey, guys. Yeah. Most of you should, but Bearded Fanatic, great stuff. Battered Network. They got so many great shows on there. I love their program. I love watching those guys. They got a diehard Dolphin fan and a diehard Jet fan on the same show talking. I just love the chemistry. So if you guys haven't yet, go check out their stuff and subscribe to their channel. It's Victory Monday, 2-0 Monday. How cool is that?
But man, you know what I think we just started? We just started a new segment, worst cereal ever. Because we always talk about the best cereal. What was the cereal that you didn't want as a kid that if your parents ever showed up, you're like, nah. Or that box, like when you would buy like this, like the box that came with like 10 or 12, and they're always like the two little boxes that no one wanted would just stay there. And they would just stay there, and then they get stale, and shit. It was like that
bland cereal. It's like I don't want to say cornflakes because maybe cornflakes if he was at school because like you said, if it's that last box
and you had no chocolate milk
and you had no sugar, and you had no sugar and you had I'm not gonna eat that. Damn. Give me the milk. I'll drink the milk. I would probably say that you need to have that. You know what I mean?
Low-key, one of the best places to have cereal for me are always hotels. Like, I love when you're staying at a hotel, part of the continental breakfast, and you have the cereal.
Tati,
like, I love that.
I want to stay to the Dolphin game, but I want to say this very quick because you said something so funny. But I always get on her about this. Every time, when we're at home and there's no work that day, she sleeps in. Bran, cornflakes, she sleeps in, right? When there's nothing to do, she wants to sleep in as late as she can. As soon as, if we're at a hotel, I don't know what gets it into her. She wakes up as soon as the sun comes over the mountain or the hill or whatever the hell.
Continental breakfast.
And she's like, she wakes up. I'm gonna go get breakfast. I'll be right back. I'm like, she's like, I got you something. So by the time I'm up, it's cold now. I'm like, what the hell? Let me see. King Vitamin. I've never heard of King Vitamin.
Holy shit! I gotta see what that is. King Vitamin cereal.
King Vitamin. Let's do that now. Let's. Josh Wingate's in the house. Bearded Fanatic. Guys, we're gonna go ahead and do the cereal awards.
Holy shit! Yes, Bob.
What is it?
Oh my god!
I might know if I see it.
It's like a form of grit. It's like, oh man, it was. I remember this. I used to eat these. Yeah. Do you see it there?
I'm looking it up now.
King Vitamin. Holy shit.
Oh my goodness.
Yes, man.
I know that.
It was like the little it looked like Cheerios but like little stars around it.
Dude, that's funny. Oh my goodness. Talk about a flashback.
God, man.
Bro,
Bob,
I'll take frosted but not cornflakes. But here's the thing, Josh.
Amazon and have a cereal date. Like
I agree, dude.
Yeah.
Look, hey, you're here in November. We should. That's gonna be our live show, trying out different cereals.
Yes.
Just straight up.
Yes.
Live on the show. Let me see. Josh, let me tell you this. So I'm with you. Frosted Flakes, 100%. However, cornflakes. The reason why I say cornflakes. Here's the thing. Again, especially with Spanish households, and you got the cornflake. Even though it wasn't Frosted Flakes, how would you save the flavor of cornflake? Sugar. We used to have this long thing of sugar. That's how we had it. It was like that, and we'd pour it on the cereal and eat it straight up like that.
Man.
Rice 1983, baby. Invite me over. I mean, there you go. There you go. We're gonna have a cereal off. And once we're in Miami, I would, Fanatic, are you in Miami?
Hey, and now while he's answering, one of those things, cereals, to me is something that no matter the time of day, it doesn't fill you up, but it always hits the spot. I know sometimes it's either early in the morning or late at night. Cereal is not something that you eat like in the middle of the day, but hey, sometimes you just have that urge.
No, I never eat cereal in the morning. I eat it at night.
At night?
No, I don't really eat breakfast. It's at night when I'll have cereal.
Okay.
Like, you know what I mean? Like if I want to have, Tati's like the cereal queen at night. She has to have it.
Bro.
She'll be like, she goes, I'm too tired, and then she'll be like, that's it, and she'll go like and get some cereal, and then she's like eating. Of course, I mess with her. I'll turn the TV off. So I turn the TV off. I thought we were gonna watch something. I was like, nah,
I'm good.
But
in my house here, our family, we have cereal nights where that's our dinner. Like there's nights that we won't cook or anything, and we just have cereal nights. And usually I have like, I want to say, in my cabinet right now, I probably have like 5 types of cereal. So we have some variety that we can mess around with.
Beard Fanatic is 15 minutes north of Hard Rock. So
perfect.
Once I'm in Miami, Alex, we'll do a live show
for sure.
And Fanatic, man, I'd love to have you join us for a show, and we could do that cereal. That would be great. Get him on, do a live show, sitting all together. That'd be awesome. Let's go ahead and, since we're talking cereal, because most people are probably going, what the hell, if they're new viewers, are probably going, why are they talking about cereal? I thought we were talking Dolphins. Well, it's leading to that, people. Calm down. All right. So let's first start off, okay, with and again, guys, answer as we go here. All right. These are going to be our kind of our game awards. Instead of game awards, so we're calling them our cereal awards. And we're going to start off first with the Fruity Loops Best Offensive Player. And the reason why it's Fruity Loops, remember, it's off-brand.
We don't want to get sued.
And we don't want to get sued. So it's the Fruity Loops Best Offensive Player of the game. So for me, Offensive Player of the game is Raheem Mostert. I talked about it last night. Raheem Mostert was phenomenal. Had the numbers here: 121 yards, 2 touchdowns. I mean, I think it was 1 catch. He was amazing. I was just, the way he played, and that huge run at the end, not towards the end, but the one that gave us the winning score, 24 points at the end. The 8 minutes remaining in the game. My Offensive Player of the game goes to Raheem Mostert. What about you, Alex?
Well, I can't differ from that, because you perfectly summarized. When you needed him the most, he was there. And aside from the O-line and Tua and the receivers, when you need something, Mostert will deliver. And this year he looks determined. It could be all the hearsay here about Taylor and the trade rumors before Dalvin Cook. And for the price that you're paying him, you got to say Mostert's a hell of a bargain, man. And yesterday, everything you needed from him, he stepped up to the plate and he did it. So there's no debating that.
And Rob of DolphinsThirsty.com, guys, if you haven't gone and checked that out, you should. He has his helmet stickers. As we got the cereal awards, he has helmet stickers. And Mostert got his helmet sticker on DolphinsThirsty.com. Let me make sure I pull this up.
Rob,
here.
Do you have a cereal helmet sticker? Because we need to work on these. We could do a little collaboration here. A little Conflei helmet sticker.
Make sure I got this pulled up here. Oh, this thing is being a pain. There we go.
I can. That's perfect, man. We could work on this.
What happened?
That he can have a Conflei helmet sticker.
Yeah, there you go. So, perfect. 18 carries, 121 yards, and 2 touchdowns.
Just the way, Bob, just the way he's moving, at the weight that he's playing, the speed that he can reach. Look, there you go. Perfect.
Look at that right there, Scotty in the house.
People do not understand this. They did a graphic, and what I love about Collinsworth, he did a graphic and a breakdown, even of Tua when Tua throws into these windows before the receiver even breaks, and they did the graphic about the speed, the average speed in the NFL in wide receivers and in running backs and all that, and we were at least 1 point something above below the average speed in the NFL. Like, we are the fastest team in the NFL, hands down. And even a chain. You saw a chain yesterday. He
Yeah.
was like 2 carries, 3 carries. And I'm like, you're just excited. We haven't even seen Wilson. Ahmed is the slowest guy, and he looks quick as hell out there. So those are to me like pluses, man.
All right, so that was our Fruity Loops best offensive player, and Wingate says it definitely goes to Mozart, but you got it. Offensive line as a whole,
Absolutely,
put there as well. And offensive line, I mean, Butch Berry, if you could give him an award, what a difference! What a difference that you see in this offensive line. Now, defensive player, the Captain Crush, best defensive player. Alex, who's your defensive player of the game?
I'm torn between Chubb and Van Ginkel because they stepped up in the moments that you needed them to step up. Arguably, Van Ginkel, obviously, I know I got him for a later award, but Chubb, I'm going to go with Chubb. He answered the call, and especially because people, when they see this number, this salary next to a player, they expect to see these numbers consistently. But when you have the attention that you draw, you're not going to see that at times in the stats book. But yesterday, Jalen Phillips was out. He stepped up and he delivered every single time you need him to deliver. So I'm going to go with Chubb.
No, I think you're absolutely right. I'm going with Bradley Chubb here and not taking anything away from Van Ginkel, and I'm with you. That's going somewhere else. But as a defensive player, and I don't knock anybody, in regards of their opinion. Everybody has a right to an opinion, whether you don't like a trade or you like a trade, or you don't like a player, you don't like a player, you want more from a player. That's your right as a fan. But those who were against or not happy with the Bradley Chubb trade are probably very happy today, or saying, you know what, hey, this might have been okay. Because last night, with Jalen Phillips out and people were worried, he stepped to the occasion. 7 total tackles, a sack, a forced fumble, which was beautiful.
And he's with Fangio again. He's in Fangio's system.
That's correct. I give him the best Captain Crush, best defensive player of the game goes to Bradley Chubb. Player of the game, Lucky Charm player of the game, that goes to Andrew Van Ginkel, man. Van Ginkel. I touched on it. I've talked to Evan, Hank on Fitz Talk today, Evan on postgame and pregame. Van Ginkel was a free agent. He was exploring other options. He didn't look like he was coming back to Miami. And then all of a sudden he took a team-friendly deal, came back to the Dolphins. He probably could have got a little more somewhere else. And when he did that, especially later in the offseason, I said, there's a reason why they're bringing him back. Fangio has a purpose for him.
Absolutely.
And last night, you saw that purpose. He was all over the field. All over the field. The defense was great overall. Xavier Howard, interception, great. I know Eli Apple's getting a little bit of hate, but he had a few good plays. Wilkins had a sack.
We took out the S.
It's Captain Lucky Charm. Lucky Charm. Not Lucky Charms. Lucky Charm. Who's the Lucky Charm player of the game? Calm down there, Wingate. No. But I'm going to roll with Andrew Van Ginkel as the player of the game. I just think he just stood out. Look, you see, Chubb and Van Ginkel got stickers. Chubb won me over for a week at least. Yeah. Hey, it could happen, man.
I'm all for it, bro.
I'm telling you. So now we get to our Conflei play of the game. All right. And so
brought to you by a screaming baby.
Yeah, that's right. A screaming child. You thought, no, that was a rooster. That was the rooster. I have a sound effect. That was a rooster. It wasn't a baby.
They just want cereal, man. They just want cereal.
That's what it is. There it goes in. I pressed the wrong button. My bad, guys. God.
Bob, you're really going out of your way with these sound effects, with these graphics, man. Your production, high level production, on cue, man. You got it going on, bro. I like it.
Oh, I know. I did say Captain. I did say Crunch at the end, but that's why I said Captain Crush.
We'll edit that. We'll edit that at the final production meeting here.
Wingate, he can fix it. Wingate's usually in the StreamYard. He can edit that. For me, I'm with Rob here. My play of the game was the 43-yard touchdown. This make it 24-10, I believe at that, or 40. I think it was 24-10 at that point.
Yeah.
That was my play of the game because I think it was the interception right before. I'm not sure how that. I don't remember exactly, but to me, that was the nail in the coffin for the Dolphins against the Patriots, where they were just like, forget it, we're done. We're done. If we can't stop him and we can't stop these guys passing, it's that's it. Raheem Mostert, that's my play of the game. What's yours?
My play of the game is literally the last play of the game. Van Ginkel coming over, and once Gesicki did the lateral, because now these arguments about should have been the forward progress was stopped. Was that even a legal play? And then you have people still fighting over like, oh, they should have just given the first down to the Patriots. I'm like, guys, even in the touchdown that the Patriots scored before, like illegal blocking in the like you have 5 ineligible receivers because they were all past the line of scrimmage. So those are things that you miss here and there. But Van Ginkel at the last moment comes, and typically what you do in those moments, a lot of people go to tackle the player, but the player is focused on the football. So the moment Van Ginkel comes, and if you notice, Bob, if you watch the replay,
Rooster's about to get a chunkla. I'm about to throw a chunkla outside that door at that rooster.
One of the things that I know with Van Ginkel, if you see the replay, even in slow motion, when a player goes for the football and tugs it back, that to me was the play of the game because that moment he stopped the progression. The lineman was falling forward. The moment Van Ginkel got on the ball and tugged it back, obviously made contact with the player, tugged the ball and pulled it back, that stopped the progression and made the player fall. So I'm going to go with literally the last play of the game. That defensive stop was the play of the game for me.
So there you go. The Serial Awards for week 2. We'll probably get them out every week. At first I thought Josh was talking about the rooster that had there because he looks mean, but now I knew what he's talking about. He's talking about that rooster that's out there in my living room, kind of going off right now, about to throw this flip flop, to smack the hell. Shut up. But just talking about yesterday. We talk about halftime adjustments and everything else, but you really saw the growth. And I'm going to talk about growth with McDaniel. And Rob was just saying that, he's, and I'm going to put words there, but I think he's a believer in McDaniel and he thinks we found our long-term coach. Look, McDaniel, again, we knew he's likable. We know that. He's a likable guy. He's a funny dude. The players obviously love him, on a personal level, it looks like, Tua looks like a total different, not just quarterback, but like a total different player and person.
A different leader. Absolutely.
He's like a coach on the field. I was saying yesterday, but he does that now that's all fun and games. I mean, that's all great. That's all goody two shoes, your players like you're a players coach, but you got to win games and you gotta grow. And from last week to this week, a shootout into a tight game. And again, it says 24-17 and you go, oh, it was closer. It was a close game. No, again, to me, the Dolphins did something that they got to grow on from. Yeah.
Well, that's something that you mentioned about after that Mostert run.
Yeah.
They slowed down a bit and they let the Patriots drive the field.
They started playing down to the Patriots. That's what I was going to say. They played down to the Patriots, and that's when you had that, and then you started making that indecisions. You started making indecisions where it's like, okay, you had the Tua miss snap with Connor, the miscommunications, and then instead of going for it because of that miss snap, you decided, I'm going to go ahead and kick that field goal, even though your kicker struggles from that point. So it's like instead of going for it when you have Tyreek, Waddle was out, I believe, at that point. Tyreek,
he already
Darius,
was out.
Mostert, you should go for that. And it's not really a knock. You learn from that. And why McDaniel, I'm not worried or too crazy about it because McDaniel shows that he can make the growth. Absolutely. And I'm seeing now it's week to week. We know what he did last season. He went 8-3, then finished 9-8. You go in here, and yes, we started 3-0. And we could very well start like that this year. But to me, this is a different 2-0 than it was last year.
This to me, Josh, is one of the biggest parts of his advancement. Obviously, aside from the jiu-jitsu training and learning how to fall.
That's fair. That is absolutely fair. I get that. I agree with that.
I do believe, and to me, the reason I'm going to say is the following. I believe the Patriots defensively, their scheme was the best scheme devised to stop this offense because you make them beat you running the football. You make their offensive line work. You make Tua have a quicker release, and they checked all those boxes. Where even some drives, Tua's release was so quick that even Waddle dropped that one at the end when they were in the 1 yard line, and that's a gutsy call. But you want to get out of there, and if Waddle makes that catch, that's almost a first down or like a yard before the first down. They're already in the 10 yard line. So I trust in McDaniel that he's given. Notice what we're giving the confidence and coaching. This is not a knock on any other previous coach, but we had this whole perspective of Tua that you can't win with Tua. Tua's not a good quarterback in the NFL. We went from that to Tua is arguably probably one of the most complete quarterbacks in the NFL. I know he's still growing, he's still developing, but when you have a head coach that believes in you and a head coach that and a GM that surrounds you with that talent and you're tailoring that offense to Tua, you see what he's doing. His pinpoint accuracy. And yeah, he made a mistake. He forced one. He forced one yesterday. You can argue if it wasn't in triple coverage, that's going to go all the way in.
I like that, Rob.
That was one of the things that Austin Jackson, he got blown by and they hit Tua. So I don't know if it was really underthrown or they hit Tua the moment he was launching it, and that's why it was massively underthrown. But you can live with that mistake. I understand. You're going to have those mistakes. Dan Marino wasn't perfect. Dan Marino threw 15, 16 interceptions in a season. So I can live with those things. If you continue to win these games and facing adversity on the road against a tough defensive matchup, and you found a team to win, and he responded with one thing that was amazing. Is like, I'm not 5-0 against the Patriots. We're 5-0 against the Patriots, and that's the part of the mentality. Yeah. That's leadership, bro. That is leadership.
Look, last year I talked about consistency. Mm-hmm. To me, he answered that.
Yes.
This year I was just talking. Obviously it's only week 2, but we talked about lasting more than 13 games. We're talked about playing well into December. I think Wingate's saying, Tua obviously looks, and it's different because week 2 of last season, we beat Baltimore. Dolphins came all the way back, and of course, during that 8-3 stretch, people were saying MVP. But there were still questions on Tua. There were still a lot of plays where you kind of go, ooh, especially ones who had questions on him. Other people kind of, they were like, oh, no, this dude is the dude. They didn't care about that. They like, he'll outgrow this. Other people were like, wait, we got to wait. This season starting out, it's only 2 weeks. This is a different version of Tua. He looks different. Again, last week went toe-to-toe with what a quarterback who throws a lot too, Justin Herbert. They were, a shootout. This week, didn't have to do all that, but he did enough to win. Again, you had a rushing game that supported him. But I get this point of going, okay, now I want to see adversity. What happens when when they're behind? What happens then? How does he respond? My thing is, you kind of see that difference, though, with last week with the Chargers. When you looked at Tua, when there was a mistake or if something with the Dolphins, you never saw him with his, you didn't see him like Brian Flores Tua. He was on the sideline with his head down or nothing like that. It was just, let's get back there and do it. Compared to Justin Herbert, who I like coming out of college. I think he's a very good quarterback, minus not winning when it counts. When he got hit or the game fell behind or whatever, he's yelling at his offensive lineman. There's a difference there. So I get that, and I think that's the next question for most people. Like people are seeing now, no, dude, wait a second. We're seeing growth here. McDaniel has done something here. We're seeing a guy who could actually be one of those top 5-10 guys. Now the next thing is for most is, okay, what is he going to happen in a tough situation? Because there's going to be a time where you're behind 14 points, 17 points, 21, whatever, and you're going to have to keep that resiliency and try to slowly but surely come back.
And I'm gonna add something, and obviously, and related to the coaching aspect. As a coach, I refer to this in basketball. There are moments that train you for these moments. There are moments that train you for adversity. That's why sometimes, even as players, you let them in and you let them figure it out, even while making mistakes, because in losing sometimes, in underachieving, in failure, you find points that will lead you to success when you're in that situation once again. Now, psychologically, that's why I tell you it's so important that these 2 wins have come on a defensive stop because as an offense, as an offensive unit, as an offensive head coach, and McDaniel, he trusts in Vic Fangio. When you have that trust in your DC, and when you know your defense is going to come up with a stop for you, maybe not every time, but they're going to give you a shot, it frees you up as an offense in adversity moments when you're playing from behind like you saw in the Chargers, where now, to me, the toughest thing of a head coach is managing a lead. I hate when head coaches, and I don't think Mike McDaniel will ever do this for the most part, I hate when coaches play not to lose a game. It happens in basketball, it happens in football, it happens in all sports. I don't understand what is the mindset. I know the game slows down in the fourth quarter, in overtime, but I do not understand why coaches change philosophy sometimes just because they have a lead and they try to protect the lead. I'm not talking about milking the clock because you saw Mike McDaniel yesterday. Mike McDaniel milked the clock at the end and they try to do it as best as they could. So that is the one thing that I've always strived as a coach is to never change my strategy or my mindset just because I'm now in the fourth quarter and I'm not in the second quarter. You're still going to play with your style. You're still going to play to your strengths, but there are things that you always want to see not change in those moments. And not just if the snap doesn't go bad with Connor Williams and Tua, does McDaniels go for it? Probably does. I don't think he's ever going to punt in that situation, but does he? There was a lot of time left on the clock on the game. Like, do you go for it? I thought he was going to go for it. I'm not going to lie, but there's situations that happen. It's situational football.
And here's the other thing with that situation, with those situations, and that maybe that miscue or that miss thing where he'll probably grow from that. They still won the game. Same thing with last week.
Yeah,
the Dolphins found a way to win the
exactly.
game. They stopped it. They sealed the deal, like you said. The defense
on the road, both of them.
I want to say though, Josh Wingate of Beer and Sports, he says right now it's Tua and Micah Parsons for MVP.
Yes.
Between those two. Parsons is just a different breed, dude. That dude's a different breed.
And people talking about the Cowboys. The only thing that's going to hinder the Cowboys, they need to figure out that offense. That offense is not producing to the caliber that it can produce. Their defense is stout, but that offense, I understand they beat the Jets.
I just want to say very quick too, because Wingate says he's the biggest Tua doubter, and that makes me think. And I'm not knocking because got all the love in the world for the brother. But Brett Legassi, congratulations on the birth of your daughter. Congratulations, many blessings. So I want to say,
I think her first words were "Fire Greer." I believe those were her first words.
As soon as she came out,
it's documented.
Fire Greer.
Yeah, Fire Greer.
Anthony Manzano in the house.
To the mama as well. Congrats.
Anthony Manzano in the house. He goes, I'm going to say this like I said it when you guys did the post game last night, Bobby. The score should have been higher, but stupid and timely penalties cost us throughout the game against the Patriots.
Well, that's an Eli Apple thing about the costly penalty things. That's to me. And Bob, I wanted to ask you because I love Cam Smith. I know he might not be ready, but is there such a gap between Eli Apple and Cam Smith that at a certain point, obviously we're doing this without Ramsey, we're doing this without Brandon Jones, he's getting back into the mold. I was surprised. David Long played much more yesterday, so I was happy with that. Is there a point that you see that we're reaching that Cam Smith is good enough to play over Eli Apple?
I think you're asking the wrong question. Wow. I think in regards of Cam Smith, I would say that I just think it's in regards to those two. If you're comparing those two, it's just about experience. Maybe Cam Smith is not ready. They're not seeing that.
Exactly.
The question should be is Kader Kohu? Is there a big gap between Kader Kohu and Eli Apple? I think Kader Kohu should be having those snaps, not
Eli Apple. That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah, that's the way I've been saying that since week one. But again, also, he's a veteran.
Needham helps. That's true.
Needham coming back is going to be huge. For the secondary. Just like people are saying Ramsey, obviously Jalen Ramsey, but when Nick Needham comes back, it's going to be huge for this defense.
Think about this. We're doing this. Like if this defense plays to the capabilities of its players, we're talking about lockdown.
Imagine yesterday's defense. This is how I could say it for everybody. Imagine yesterday's.
It looks healthy again.
Yesterday's defense with week one's offense.
Oh, that's the Dolphins. Remember
If
when I
they
told
could
you,
have
is
that
this the most
synergy-
complete team? Remember when I said that before the season? That I'm like, this is the first time I've ever seen so much talent on both sides of the ball simultaneously. We might not have the perfect performance, but do you get the feeling of, damn, we got playmakers everywhere? Like, we got playmakers everywhere. I understand. Offensive lines, people are still going to question until Armstead comes back, et cetera, et cetera. But to me,
Who's in a question the offensive line right now?
no, well, people
Who
are still going to
should?
do it.
I
No
mean-
one should. No one should.
I mean, and
No one
again,
should.
yes, when you're looking at talent and you're looking at it going, yeah, but
That's
but
true,
right
right?
now, what they've done in the last 2 weeks with what they've had, and it's not perfect, but what they've done the last 2 weeks is commendable to obviously Butch Berry.
Mhm.
You know,
Coaching is
that's-
important, guys. Coaching is
Listen,
important.
that helps you. That's sustainable. To me, it's sustainable enough to get you to that point. Now, look, you're looking at what we were saying earlier about
They could have
schedule.
shown Joseph, but you can't slow down Hill for 16 games, 17 games. That you got Waddle, you got speed everywhere else.
Waddle might be out. He's in concussion protocol. But this is the thing. The Patriots may have showed how to slow down Hill, but this is why the Dolphins did what they did yesterday. They were 30%. They were 30 passes, 30 total rushing attempts. 50-50 split. They win the game. When Hill, who had I don't have it in front of me anymore, but
Five catches, 40-something yards, and a touchdown.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You know, those numbers there, you look at it and go, what? But then go look at Mozart's numbers. 18 carries, 121 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Teams
And
start to go,
McDaniels
whoa.
find a way to get the ball to Hill. And he could probably get 11 catches, 100 yards, but he's going to find a way to kill you.
He'll find a
all
way.
his weapons.
He'll find a way. But I was going to say, because you said this earlier in regard to the Dolphins. When I look at Miami, and I was talking about this last night, when you look at the rest of the season, of course, health comes into play.
Most important thing.
When you look at all the games that are coming up, the only teams that you could probably take out of what I'm about to say, Buffalo, Kansas City, Philly, maybe Baltimore, okay? Where you could go, okay, I could see this going one way or the other. You could make an argument against both. But every other game, other than that, the only way Miami loses those games, if not injury, is beating themselves. There's no way Miami loses to the Jets, despite the talent on the roster. I mean, you got Zach Wilson, so loses to the Jets, loses to the Patriots, to the Broncos, and again, the Broncos, I think, are going to be a tougher Week 3 opponent just because their backs are against the wall. They're 0-2.
They got nothing to
Sean
lose.
Payton, they're going to come out hot and heavy. But again, I can't see Miami losing that game unless they cost themselves that game. And hey, maybe Kansas City is, and that would be a blessing for Miami. But again, that's why I say those are, when those games come up, those give you cause to pause where you got to go, okay, let's look overall. How's these two teams performing? Again, Buffalo came back, they beat 31 or whatever they did. They're still the Bills, whatever. Those are the games where you got to think about it. You got to think about where you're going to lean. The other games you don't have to think about unless Miami beats themselves.
What's insane, Bob? I know it's only the second week.
Week 2, yeah.
Like, one of these things is people talk about how preseason is not that important. A lot of these teams, a lot of these offensive juggernauts have gotten out to really slow starts. Obviously, Cincinnati with Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow doesn't look right. There looks like something's wrong. That offense is not in sync. Kansas City, I know that they've gone through some injury concerns, instability at the receiver position, new receivers again. So you're counting on Mahomes to doing a lot. Eventually, that's going to wear down a little bit. They're still going to be exciting. They're still going to be high octane offense, but they've underproduced. Defensively, they're not that great. The Bills, I understand the Bills beat the Raiders. Okay, amazing. But I still think that team is in turmoil. I don't think that team can survive a whole season and be productive as we expect them to be. So I feel like this year, this is where certain teams sneak in. Like what we mentioned about the Lions, depending on how the Steelers do. This feels like one of these years that I look around, and I'm not trying to be a homer like I was in the offseason. This is why I said, like, I wanna be very careful how I say it, because I don't want to be like, oh yeah, I know these things. No, I don't know it, but I just expected it from this team. I expected them to come out and be a much better balanced offense. And what I mentioned to you the last show we did, I think McDaniels is going to pick the poison every week. Some games it might be a 30-30 split. Some games it might be a 40-20. Shit, some games we might run the ball 40 times. It's what the defense gives you. This is why.
Well, but that's what yesterday showed us. That's
Exactly.
what I'm saying. Like in week one, you're going, come on, dude, you're going to do what you did last year, 80-20, passing 80% of the time, running 20% of the time.
Mm-hmm.
That's what was the question last week. But then you go into this week and you see what the game plan was. It was a 50-50 split. But
there might be more Dolphins fans over there. They like us in there.
and Joseph, that's a great point, Joseph.
Yeah.
That's a great point. And besides, if Kansas City continues to play the way they're playing and Miami continues to play their playing, then Miami would be the favorite there.
Mm-hmm.
Corn Pops versus Cinnamon Life. Ooh.
Oh. There was a thing about Corn Pops because Corn Pops
I would say Cinnamon Life.
type of milk.
I would say Cinnamon Life. I like Cinnamon Life. I'm down with that. No, I was thinking of Captain Crunch at that.
Is she down with that too?
That's her arguing. You tell her she's, between all my kids, Audrey, Tristy, I love you too. Oh, Audrey was always the princess. Where Ellie is like, hi, baby. She's 2 years old. You do the baby talk, and she starts yelling, and she's like, damn.
Yeah,
Bobby, I'm just watching.
Yeah. Look, we had. I know people remember him. We had Orlando Mare. When Orlando Mare stepped on the field, there was no way in hell that. Okay, would Orlando Mare would have missed that field goal, Bob? That Saunders missed? Nope. Orlando Mare would have hit that, and it was 10 yards, still 20 yards extra, bro. Like, those are the things. I'm telling you, I don't know how, Bob. I don't know how, but we need another kicker. Is it even possible with our salary cap?
The damn
issues?
rooster. I told you, Wingate, that rooster. I raised chickens in here.
I'm telling you, man.
I feel Sanders is going to lose a game for, let me just, hold on. Again, and I get all that. And again, if it goes down to that, I'll talk about it. But again, I'm gonna stay with this because last time I was like, "Oh, he missed that kick," but we're not gonna say nothing about the missed snap. That's been a problem since last year.
Absolutely.
Can't catch a shotgun, can't catch it under the ass either. We're not gonna touch on it. We're gonna go on the guy who.
Whoa.
What? That's how it is. It's under the ass. It's on. Hi.
Under the ass.
Say it like that.
That's a phrase, man.
No, I didn't mean it like that. Come on now.
We're talking about roosters catching it under the ass. Like
what's the other word for rooster? Don't say it.
What?
Rooster under. Yeah. Whoa. No, but I get it. I understand. I agree. It's a concern. We can't, Bobby. The fact of the matter is that it's not just that. If that would have cost us the game, then you would have said, hey, it's also that snap that made it 51 yards or 50 some odd yards. And a kicker should make that. That's what you're paid for. I get all that. All that.
That's your job.
I get all that. But let's not forget the point after that. And again, if he messes it up, then I'll put down my argument. Until then, 9 points last week.
Oh, I didn't even see this. Is it true? Missed the roughing the kicker penalty for Jason Sanders on the block or on the missed field goal? On the second missed field goal? I don't remember that.
I'm gonna for pushback. Rewatch that game again, and you'll see the referee clearly missed a roughing the kicker penalty for Jason Sanders. That clearly ran into him and caused Jason.
Was it the special? Was it the?
I'm gonna watch that. I don't want to see that now. I'm gonna look that up.
And I refrain from talking shit about Jason Sanders. My apologies.
Shame on all of you. Thank you, Anthony. Shame on us, Scotty and Joseph. How dare you guys? I'm just kidding, guys. Thank you, Anthony. Poor Jason Sanders. Evan, I told Evan yesterday, what did he do to you? Did he cut you off one of those times you traveled to Florida? Did he cut you off in traffic? Like, did he skip you in line at Publix somewhere down in Miami? And
did he kick you?
Like, what did he do to you that you got to go on him so hard? Tati says another word for rooster, gallo.
Gallo.
Yeah. Gallo. No, I say gallo.
Gallo. Joey Gallo. Can I tell you something?
Right.
Like I told you, I watched from the first snap to the end of the game. I was never nervous at any point.
No.
There was when Jason Sanders lined up to kick that field goal, I knew he was gonna miss. Like I just felt it. I looked at him like, that field goal.
If you felt that, and I felt that, you're not nervous, but that's my thing. It's like, what do you think that? What do you think that McDaniel thought. Like, it's like, you know your kicker. You know your guy. You know what I mean? And if he's your guy, like, you want him to break whatever's going on with him. You want him to break out of that.
Yeah.
And make that kick and then get his whatever's going on with him back. And maybe somebody ran into him. I didn't see that. But Sanders tried to cut me off on 95. Oh! All right, Scotty, I see you. I like that. He went veered right and missed it. That's awesome. Whoa. Hey, man. Put that back. Keep that there.
Awesome.
Keep that there.
Awesome.
I love that.
That is perfect.
Sanders tried to cut me off on 95, but veered right and missed me. Bada boom. Ding.
Man. Can you imagine, Bob? We've come all this way. The Dolphins, for years, the most boring offense in the NFL, which now kind of belongs to the Titans. You guys got Tannehill over there. And, oh, my God. It just reminds me of
you guys.
Well,
it's not my team.
Yeah, I know. But over there in Tennessee, now you're seeing it firsthand again. For so many years, we had 21-17 games, 17-14 games, a boring offense. Can you imagine now that we have a high-octane offense, high-octane defense, our Achilles heels becomes our kicker?
Tannehill had a good game yesterday. Why are you crapping on Tannehill for?
Man.
You talk about. Go watch the
Tua,
go watch it.
Tannehill.
But it's not about that, though.
Tua.
But if we're going to talk about Brian Flores and Tua and how his opportunities are, imagine if Tua with Joe Philbin and Adam Gase. How do you think Tua would have done with those two guys?
I don't know.
You know.
I don't know.
You know.
Probably not as well. Probably not.
Duh.
As well. Yeah.
Duh.
But,
stop talking shit.
Man.
You know damn better than that. You know better than that. Stop riding his rooster and stick to the facts.
Hey.
Stop on his gallo. Stop riding his gallo. Okay?
I've been on his gallo since day one.
Oh God!
It's funny when we drafted Tua, my two options were only Tua and Jordan Love. I didn't want Herbert. I wanted Tua or Love, and Love. I've always wondered how Love would have done with us, man.
I don't care because he's not with us. I don't care how.
Yeah, no, of course not.
You know what I mean? You. She's picturing it. Look what you did.
Yeah.
She ain't gonna look at you the same, dude. She ain't gonna look at you the same.
Man. We've seen some shit.
I don't like the way Bobby says gallo.
No one likes it. Look at that. It's the
no, I don't
comes
care.
out. That annoying
I don't care.
gallo.
It's a stupid word. Gallo.
He sounds when he says that. When he says that, he sounds like one of those housewives, like those whatever. Like I have to do that. Like gallo.
Gallo.
Like, what? Yeah, gallo. I don't speak the language.
Whatever. Gallo.
That's a good way. Gallo.
He says gallo. This is. I don't care from Hialeah, dude. Where's Hialeah? Where's Hialeah?
Oh,
where is it?
Are you really gonna say it's Hialeah?
I'm gonna say it. Where is it? Where's Hialeah?
I'm a white guy.
It's America, baby. USA.
The line is important. We need to run the football. I don't like this throwing thing. We just need to run the football 55 times. I need to run the football. I like running the football. Can we say like that's old?
Hey, let me ask you something. With the question last week, now that Jamie's here,
go ahead.
I call it Jamie. With the question last week, when we were asking, what's it called, risk it all. Did you survive that?
I don't think I don't think she's aware that we were asking those questions. She's aware now. Appreciate it, Bob. I gotta go.
Yeah, bio that mofo. No, just talk all that trash now.
Yeah,
no.
I'm picking up some static. I'm losing you on this end. I'm losing you on your.
That's right. Yeah.
I can't hear you.
I just love that when I told when Tati goes, I didn't hear all that. I go, oh, you didn't hear that? And she goes, what was it? And she knew right away. She's like Joy Taylor, and all respect and all that. But Joy. And then I told her, she said, and I told her, listen, she goes, like, and the next one, she's like, yo, you didn't say Salma Hayek? And I was like, holy shit, I don't know. I was like, yeah.
Salma Hayek, you risk it all right now. Right now, man. Right now. Hands down.
What did you She wants it. What did you risk? She wants the list.
Nothing at all.
He said nothing. He said never. I would never do that.
I wouldn't risk anything.
She's going back right now to look back the episode.
Yeah,
she's like,
yeah, for sure. She's gonna be like, oh, you said,
really? But it was so funny. Tati's like, you didn't say so. I was like, oh crap! Like somehow, anyway, we're gonna get back on that. But anyway,
they act like they don't, but they will risk it all for somebody else too, of course.
The wives?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure. We can have
Jason
another
Taylor.
segment.
Jason Taylor.
Also, you just do the swap. Like you'll take the sister, she'll take the brother.
She just turned 57.
Man,
Yeah.
57 never looked so good.
Age like wine, boy. No, but let's get into this. See, I knew it right there. Miami Heat. Let's touch on some Miami Heat. And let me just remind everybody, East 10th Street Boys, straight out of Hialeah on the FitSox Sports Network. We talk everything. Dolphins, Heat, Marlins, Panthers, whatever's on the docket.
Risking
talk about life. Risking it all. Just fun stuff. You know, we play with fire here on East 10th Street Boys like we did when we were kids. My mother actually just found a video, the little cassette tape of one of our wrestling shows. She just told me today, she found it. God. So she's going to have to try to find how to get it on a CD or something.
Okay.
So maybe one of these shows, we got to pop that in.
Man.
My goodness. Never mind. I mean, put it on. My God, pop it in. We say Rooster. Are we
Such
talking
a lot
BSN?
Of shit, bro.
I love my husband ass. You know.
Oh, good times.
Yeah,
okay.
good.
So tell me, what do you want to know about?
See here. Oh my goodness, where did I miss this? I'm trying to remember something, but anyway, Miami Heat. Let's touch on some Miami Heat, man. I know you're not doing fast break tomorrow. Catch us up with the. There you go. Superman.
Yeah, for sure.
She's like, I knew it. Come on, Jimmy. Let's just be real. Let's all be real about it. You know, it's never going to happen.
Yeah. Never. You never know.
That's why she wanted to watch Man of Steel so many times. You know,
she watches while sleeping, like on silence and all that. Like it's crazy shit, bro. It's crazy shit.
All right, so Miami Heat. Looks like there's some traction going on with Damian Lillard. What's up?
Well, the typical thing that we talked about. Remember when we did? I think you were on with me, or it was doing East 10th Street Boys one day. That when this whole when it was confirmed, obviously I was in DR. You're the one that messaged me. You're the one that broke the news to me because I was in and out of service, so I wouldn't be able to know anything firsthand. There was always a time frame where you believed. Sometimes people thought it could drag into the season. I really thought that it was either going to be during Summer League when they met in Vegas or right before training camp. Because still, I understand this is part possibly of the coping mechanism that the Blazers are going with. And we had, on Fast Break last week, we had Brady Hawk with us from Five Reasons Sports. They've analyzed every scenario back and forth. And we had a great conversation. And Justin was with us. And we discussed some of these options where there's really no leverage from the Blazers standpoint. Now we're getting closer to training camp. You kind of see where the Blazers are the team that's going to be most affected by this. No matter which way, shape, or form, how this ends up, you want to spread as much rumors now or get as many teams involved because it needs to be shown that you have been doing due diligence. When in reality, due diligence was supposed to be done 3 months ago, 4 months ago, towards the end of the season, when Dame comes at you and is like, hey, I understand I signed this extension. You told me this. And now the number one area where I think that this could even backfire on the Blazers, supposedly, I can't confirm that or deny it, but that Dame gave him a list of his preferred destinations. So it could be quite possible that Dame had a 3 or 4 team list of where he would be okay playing. Supposedly the response was, we're going to do what's best for us, and that's where Dame switches demand to Miami only. So you can tell that was a cat and mouse game where Dame has still maintained professionalism throughout every single point of the offseason. He's obviously now he's reposting a lot of things. He removed one recently where it was like he was the future Heat legend. He reposted that and really quick brought it down. So you kind of understand what is happening, and I do feel that people are going to be surprised with the end result of the package that we do give up for Dame. I don't think it's going to be as deep as people are envisioning. I understand Dame is a top 75 player of all time. You have him under contract for 4 years, but what people fail to realize is the Blazers have no leverage. The Blazers have to trade Dame. I'm not saying, but he's under contract for 4 years. Okay, I get that. That's just a legal document. They have to trade Dame. because this is going to affect their future relationship with future players. How you trade a superstar of this magnitude, that is your marquee franchise player, the perfect example, the leader of your team for the last 11, 12 years that has carried you. The way you treat him on the way out is why it was so important. The way Miami treated Wade when he came back. Because there are certain players that you do not do wrong with. And you should always do right with your players. We understand as a business, but there's ramifications with this. And are there other teams involved? Possibly, but quite frankly, the other teams involved is because they want Tyler Hero. So that's where you get the Utah's probably. I know Danny Ainge would love to have Tyler Hero. So that's where he could come into play.
Charlotte. There was the thing I saw
Charlotte.
today. Charlotte Hornets are might be getting in here to pair him with LaMelo.
You need a team that is a small market team that is willing to give up some assets to acquire a Tyler Hero, because you're not a free agency destination and you got Tyler Hero under contract for 4 more years. So there are moments where the problem is, Bob, whoever can give you the most draft picks, like for example, OKC, Utah. You might even look at scenario with Orlando with young assets. Those teams are not going to trade anything for Dame. They don't want Dame in their timeline. Now, you do want to be a third team to facilitate this move because you're going to acquire someone that you value in Tyler Hero. And there's many scenarios out there. I do think in the long run, one of these players is going to get traded for sure. It's either Hero, Jovic, or Hakis. I don't believe 2 of those 3 will get traded. That's what I'm saying. This package that we're sending back, I don't think people understand that it's not going to be our top 3 rookies where Jovic, Hakis is getting moved. You're also going to move Robinson. You're going to move Hero. You're going to move all your draft picks. I don't think that people understand what leverage is and fair value in this moment. You're not going to fleece the Blazers. The Blazers are not going to fleece you. You're going to find a common ground because at the end of the day, you need to save face if you're the Blazers. Miami wants to get this done, but Miami's not going to overpay. Miami's not going to gut their roster. Miami is okay with this. Is the one thing that people don't realize. I'm okay. This sounds crazy because it's Dame Lillard, but we are okay with this roster. Obviously, you're going to make the move for Dame Lillard, but this roster is much better than it was last year. The development of your players, and now another piece of the puzzle went off today. Kelly Oubre signed with the Sixers, 1-year deal. So this obviously, to me, I like to read between the lines, just logical thinking basketball-wise. He's going to have an opportunity to have a bigger role in Philadelphia. There's a lot of uncertainty in Philadelphia with James Harden. They need wing players. So obviously he has more opportunity there to produce. The Miami Heat value their developmental staff. The Miami Heat value those guys on 10-day contracts. Those guys on a rookie skill contract that they're developing, those undrafted players. So they prefer to have someone that's a system player like Hayward Highsmith. He's going to get more playing time. Those are situations that we talked about it with Brady last week too. There's a lot of misconception fan-wide about what this trade is going to end up being. I understand you're attaching the name of Dame Lillard, but you're not going to get the package that you got for even Kevin Durant. And they made it a great example. I forgot where I watched it. I think it was 5 Reasons too, where the Nets and the Suns had negotiated a trade, and they couldn't agree to it in the offseason. But in season, the Nets got exactly what they wanted. And they talk about the ownership change. The new owner in the Suns approved the trade, even approved the trade for Bradley Beal, where he gave up all the future. Like, the Suns are built to win now. If the team does not succeed, they don't have a backup option. They have to rebuild from the ground up. Miami's in a perfect situation where we have almost 3 time frames in the spot. You're in win now mode, but you still have your successor in the roster in Bam Adebayo, where once Jimmy retires, you still build around Bam. And those are the Giannis years, the possible Zion Williamson years. There's a lot of things that come into play where you're going to acquire a player, but based on the situation, you're not going to have to give up as much as people thought because there's still no market. And we're going to hear rumblings, Bob. You're going to hear more teams. You're going to hear now. Now what comes next? You already heard the teams. Now what comes next is the scenarios, these offers that are coming, who they're willing to trade for. Because that's the thing. At the end of the day, when you look at Cronin and when you look at Portland, they have to make the move. This isn't something that you can bring into training camp and try to play through because it's just not growth for your team. So at a certain point, probably within a week or two, it could be this week, but it might be the following, right before training camp. There's going to be a situation where you're going to see Portland accept a deal that, for some, is going to seem like a steal because they traded away Damian Lillard. Unfortunately, you can try to protect the optics as much as you want, and I'm pretty sure the Heat are fine with it because the Heat are okay. Like you have a stable organization. People around the league are looking around and asking like, what the hell is Portland doing? Like they have to save face somehow. So you got to get more teams involved. Now it comes down to the fact if the Heat want to trade Tyler Hero or they don't. Because like I told you from the beginning, this became a secondary market for Tyler Hero. And Tyler Hero wants to stay. If there's any superstar that wants to stay in his team right now and is okay with coming back no matter the trade rumors, no matter what, it's Tyler Hero because he's a professional. He has a chip on his shoulder, and he's going to come back even better than ever. So there's many scenarios that could play out. There's many packages being talked about and rumored about, but we won't know until they actually sit down and talk. So when you look at reporters and you talk about Woj and Shams and Mark Spears, I respect out of all those three. Obviously, I trust Mark Spears a little bit more because he's always been even keel, even if he's close to Dame. But he's a refutable reporter, or you can't refute his reporting because he's always been on point. And he did mention today about the possible third team in the East, where in hypothetical situations, anybody can make this move. But are you willing to deal with what could come with Dame Lillard? You can trade for Dame Lillard. He's going to be a professional. He'll show up. But are you willing to risk what you're going to trade just to have a chance with Dame Lillard? I can't think of a team in the East that is really willing to do that. He doesn't want to go to Boston. I can think of a Milwaukee, to save face with Giannis. I don't see there's really no other team, Bob, that you got Orlando come up, you're up and coming. You got Cleveland. Does Cleveland get involved when you just did that for Mitchell? Like, do you risk that? Like New York, is that really a plausible move? Like, you try to go through all those things. I know they mentioned in 5 Reasons they did mention New Orleans as a possible a sneaky team because of C.J. McCollum and Zion Williamson. You can trade back Brandon Ingram. They mentioned Utah as the third team because of Tyler Hero and Danny Ainge being obsessed with Tyler Hero and having the necessary. Those are teams that OKC and Utah, they can trade extra picks because they have so many. So they don't value it as much, but they can use their value in these moves. But it's just a bunch of back and forth that you hope to have a resolution soon. But I just want people to understand, if you're a true Heat fan, if you're a true basketball fan, we are essentially in the driver's seat in regards to we're going to give up what we're okay giving up from the beginning. We're not going to overpay, even if it's Dame Lillard. So we've been patient this long. Just write it out until it finalizes. But I still believe in my heart that Dame Lillard will be a Heat before the start of the season.
There you go. Not much to disagree on. We'll see what happens. I know, I was like, Kyle Lowry was videoed or shot with Chauncey Billups watching the game. What game? The Colorado game, right? Was Colorado they were at?
It was Colorado. Yeah, Colorado.
So they were there watching that game live, and of course Chauncey got up and ran up. Man.
He's a great mentor if that's the situation, and
for sure. I think again, it's hard for me to envision not one of our young guys going.
Yeah.
And I started thinking about it more, and this is just me thinking out loud. Because you start to think, the Heat really were putting a lot of social media effort on behind Jovic.
Yeah.
This offseason, especially when in Serbia. And of course you could go, oh man, that just shows how much they really like him. They're like saying, hey, we got a gun. On the other end of it, and this is just me thinking out loud, okay? Are they also going, hey, Portland, you don't think we have assets? We have assets. And, again, I don't want to lose either one of those guys. But to me, I think Miami, obviously, I think, and I agree with you. Let's say Miami doesn't make this trade, which, again, I think they will. But let's say they don't. I like this roster better than I do like the roster last year. Absolutely. I think this roster is better. And this is that roster last year went to the final.
And the East didn't get better. The East did not get better. They did not.
But at the same time, Miami, I think, feels the same way. I think they're comfortable either way, and I think that's the game they're playing. They're going, hey, we could play the long game. We're comfortable with what we have. We're going to be in it. We might not be in it in the middle season, but we'll be in it in the end. Maybe that's what they're saying. But at the same time, when Portland said, "Oh, but you don't have look, man, we're not interested in Jovic, we're not interested in Jaime, we're not interested in, you don't have the draft picks." But then you notice the kind of game that Miami was playing a little bit when they're really pushing Jovic in Serbia, the way he was playing, and they're pushing that social media. You go on one end, you might be going, "Man, they really like Jovic, man," and yeah, they do. We all do. We love Jovic, but they're going, "Man, Miami's really pushing." Maybe they're trying to get, but maybe it's the other way. Maybe Miami's saying, "Hey, look, this is their way of saying to Portland, hey, dude, we have an asset. He's right here. I'm not going to give you both. You get one or the other, plus
exactly
this guy and this guy.
Exactly.
But don't tell me we don't have one, because look what this guy. And again, if I'm Portland, I think Jaime he plays like I think he could play like a veteran right now. I think he's a perfect.
He could be a role player right now.
You could throw him in right now, and he's going to make a difference. Those minutes that when Jimmy was out of the game, anytime he was out of the game last season, you felt him. You were missing him. You knew he was off the floor. This season, I believe when Jaime comes in, it might take a few games or a few weeks, but I think when Jaime comes in, those minutes are going to be easily replaceable. You're going to go, oh, dude, this guy is taking up those minutes. And then him and Jimmy together, Jovic, you're going to see growth. Obviously, if he comes in this year, you're going to see him playing a lot more minutes, and he's going to be in the rotation, all that. But if I'm Portland, I'm looking at Miami's assets, and if there's one guy I'm looking at to come to my team with Scoot and those guys, it's Jovic.
Mm-hmm.
Jovic fits perfectly with Portland right now. Might not be with Miami. I'm not saying not that he won't be. With what Miami is right now, if Miami was a team a lottery team, and they were just getting a young group together, Jovic would be a perfect fit, because you could just build around him and bam, and you just move up and you grow, and then you get a team eventually. Where Miami's is a playoff finals team, where Portland is nowhere near that. So if you go get a Jovic, you pair him with Scoot and Sharp and that crew over there, you got yourself a good young squad. So
yeah, absolutely.
My thing is, I think
is that with
Miami,
Jovic, you could run offense through Jovic. Right now. Even right now, you can run offense through Jovic.
Absolutely, and
which if he's with the Heat, I believe he will. The second will run offense through him. But am I crazy to think that no.
The other end of that was that Miami saying, "Hey, look at what he's doing." You say we don't have an asset; it's right here.
Not at all.
This is our asset.
Miami knows how to play these leverage games. They're masters at it, and I know we have talked about it. And their social media department usually gets the okay from the higher ups what players to emphasize. So even last year, remember when there was the summer league, and even this year they were emphasizing Orlando Robinson, and then you kind of saw that transition into Orlando Robinson getting a standard contract. So there's a reason they emphasize certain players. What you're saying in this point is that's 100% true. They could be using it to hype up an asset, because that's one thing that they have mentioned before is that you're not going to start throwing names out there, because then your asset loses value. The only way your assets never loses value is obviously when you sell it at its highest point, or there's no rumors with these assets. Like Tyler Hero, and they've made a great point about this over and over. Tyler Hero over a summer has gone and he's become like this non-wanted asset in basketball. And I'm like, are you guys insane? Like, now at this point, I'm like, are you trying to devalue our asset? Because we're not going to let you do that. We're just going to keep on backing up. And obviously there has been no social media posting about Tyler Hero really from the Heat this offseason. So you can kind of see it's a foregone conclusion that if one player is going to be moved, for sure it's Tyler. But then there's a scenario where if Tyler's not moved, do you lose both Jovic and Jaquez? Because if you trade Tyler, I think you save yourself from having to trade Jovic or Jaquez. But it could play into the amount of draft picks you want to move. If you move Caleb Martin at a certain point to a third team or even to Portland, there's so many moving parts. And I just know there's not going to be a sticking point when it comes to getting this trade done. But they're not going to trade everything. They're not going to trade Jovic and Jaquez and Martin. They're not going to do that.
I will say
is that their points.
I will say that if we do land Dame Lillard, I'm not I'll be happy either way. I'll just say it like that. I'm gonna be excited because Lillard is Lillard. He is who he is. He is one of the best.
And he's arguably what you're missing.
He automatically becomes because he is one of the top 10 players, one of those, he becomes the best player on your team talent-wise with Butler in it. But so again, no matter how the trade goes down, I'm not going to be upset at that. But if you're telling me a preference, I don't want to if like, and by that I mean like if they were like, oh, we had to give up both plus this guy. I'm talking about the 2 young guys plus whoever, a veteran, Hero or Robinson or whomever. If they do that, yeah, I'm kind of be like, I wish they didn't do that. I wouldn't be upset, but my preference is no. It's either you could get one of them plus a veteran plus this guy, exactly. Not both of them, both of them.
I think is going to end up being, Bob. If we trade Hero, it might be the Hero, Martin, or a Robertson type combination. Even though I think they're going to try to keep Robertson at all costs, his contract doesn't look bad at all. Coming down to an expiring state in 2 years, and it's a tradable asset in 2 years. So it comes down to this starts playing into, is Kyle Lowry moved? If Kyle Lowry's not moved, is he your backup point guard? Are you going to include him in the trade? If it's
that's my thing.
If you trade Hero, you're not going to include really Lowry because salaries are going to start. So those
and then you keep him until and hope he stays healthy before the trade deadline. And then when you need that extra help, out. Get those extra player, whoever that may be.
He can run your second unit. That's perfect. Now, if you want to include Lowry, if you want to keep Hero, and you want to include Lowry, that might cost you. For sure, it's going to cost you one of them, either Jovic or Hawkins, for sure. But then that's when you start into play. Is like if they start asking you for your other types of role players, Highsmith, Martin. That's when you start now. That's the negotiation part, which like I said, I don't believe there's any sticking point. There's not one player that they wouldn't trade for Damian Lillard, but I do believe there's a limit to the combination of what they're willing to bundle up and send out. So we just gotta wait and see, man.
All right, we'll wait and see. We'll see, and the noise is starting to pick up again, so we might be not waiting that long. I want to say, I know we're at the hour, almost at an hour and a half. We talked, maybe we could hold off questions for the next show.
Whatever you like, man.
Add some good ones, but we can hold off because we were talking about cereal and we were having fun with, on some of the fun stuff. I do want to say, very quick before we close it out, I want to bring up one show that I just started watching, and I never heard of this show till it started popping up on TikTok for me, and I laughed out loud a few times, and I was like, this show is stupid, but it's funny, and I think of you, dude, and I'm like, dude, this is something Alex is gonna love, like it is stupid funny, and you might know it. It's an FX show. It's called What We Do in the Shadows. Have you heard of it?
I've never watched it.
Do you know what it's about?
No. But I've heard people talk about it.
Dude, it's about 3 vampires. It's like The Office or Parks and Rec, where it's a documentary crew who are in the house of these 3 vampires, and they've been alive for hundreds of years, and they have this one kid who lives with them and serves them, and he's not a vampire. But this guy I have to send you some of these clips because, like, they go, they're walking in. Of course, they're vampires, right? They suck blood. They want to find virgins to suck their blood and all this. Yeah. It's just but funny scenarios, all these funny things. But like, I laughed out loud. They were walking through the woods, and or they were walking in the park, and the guy and the girl, and they're both vampires, and they're dressed up in their garb with a big hat and a big coat and everything. And also they see this other couple walk past them, and they go, "Good evening, sir." And the guy goes, "Go back to your country." And he goes, "What the fuck?" And he goes like that. And I just started dying because he goes, "What?" And he goes, as they're walking, she goes, "It's okay, it's okay." He goes, "No, I want to kill him. I want to eat." She goes, "All right." So they both fly up, and these people the other couples on the other side of the lake. And all of a sudden you see the guy go, pfft, and he like disappears. And all of a sudden you see the girl go, "Honey?" And all of a sudden you see his blood go, pfft. And like, dude, this show is so stupid, but it's hilarious.
I'll check it out. I'd check it out.
There's this other guy who's called he's an energy vampire. He basically bores the hell out of you. Like he doesn't drink blood. He just talks to you, and he's like, do you know why math was created? And he just gives you this whole random crap, and he's like, and then you're like, okay, dude, that's great. Yeah, and that's how he gets his energy. He does that to the other vampires. It's hilarious, dude. I'm telling you, that's a show. I saw that show. I'm on episode 3 now. Okay. And I'm like, this is something you have to watch. Do you remember The League?
Yes.
The fantasy football show? Mm-hmm. The same creators. And Tati knows the name better than I do. Taiyaki Ratiti. Oh my goodness, I'm butchering his name, but he's a comedian, but he's also a director and a writer. Trying to remember something he's done. Anyway, he writes the show. You got to check it out when you get a chance.
I will.
I'll send you some clips for sure, dude.
Yeah,
Because there's this one guy. He's not the main vampires, which is kind of funny, but he's the funniest dude. You know, he's shorter. You know, I'll text you and tell you my other thoughts on it because I just think it's hilarious, bro. But yeah, and that's for everybody else. If you don't know a show to watch, you want to watch something stupid that's funny. What We Do in the Shadows, and they fought in this last episode. They fought werewolves. That was hilarious. They were getting so hyped up. You know, they're like, "We're gonna kick your ass," and they're going at it and. They go on this roof and it's only a one-on-one, and they go, "This proclamation was written in 1993." And they go, "Oh, that was a long time ago." It's like 1993. I'm like, wait, you know, and they go, "Only one-on-one combat, can't be a whole group." So like, all right, so pick your best fighters. And the guy got Nander, who's like the main vampire. He's like, "Me." He has a stupid little thing in his head. And the girl goes, "You and your stupid dildo." The werewolf tells him, he goes, "It's not a dildo," you know. And they go on the roof and they're about to fight. And they go, "Okay, who's your fighter?" They tell the werewolf, this big dude. And they go, "Can't you pick somebody else?" Or like, "No, man, we're going with this guy." This guy turns into a giant werewolf. And so they go, "Let me find my weapon." So he goes looking for the weapon. And he gets his little dog bone. He goes, and also they go, "No." He goes, and throws it off the roof. And like, it's so stupid. Oh, dude, this shit's funny, man. I was laughing.
Man, I'll check it out.
You got to, bro. You got it. But anyway,
sure.
There's my time wasting 5 minutes before we close it out. But anyway,
I like that.
Everyone for tuning in. Thank you so much. Watching East End Street Boys straight out of Hialeah. That's Alex Atiachiska. I'm Bobby Melendez. Fins Talk. Like and subscribe if you haven't yet. Catch us tomorrow. A new episode of Once Upon a Sunday. Tuesday. Well, that's all sides. Well. Once Upon a Sunday is in the afternoon. They do 2 shows now. In the afternoon, which is fantasy football, which again, let me just check on that because I was 30% chance to win yesterday. And now I am at 97%. Thank you, Raheem Mozart, for your 25 points to save me.
Amazing.
So catch Once Upon a Sunday in the afternoon. Then we got Real Talk Fins Talk at 8:15. At 7:15, excuse me, 7:30, which is Dolphins content. Then if you like soccer, we got That's All Sides at 8:30. We usually have fast break, but they're taking a day off tomorrow. Then you catch Once Upon a Sunday again on Wednesday nights. Of course, Thursday, we got Finn's Bandwagon, No Holds Barred. Food Bar, I'm sure, will be off this week because Brett Lagasse, again, he welcomed his second child, his daughter.
Congrats again.
Last night, right when the Dolphins won, his daughter was born. And then, of course, Finn's Talk today, and then we go back to post-game, pre-game, and all of the above. So, everyone, thank you so much for watching. Like, subscribe. And if you're a Dolphins fan, most importantly, Fins up. See you all next time.